Hello guys, welcome to a new video here on my channel, a new review for a new lens by Viltrox. Let's check it out after the intro. Here you are, welcome to the channel. If it's your first time, my name is Mamo. Today we're going to test out a new lens by Viltrox. It's a 27mm APS-C large aperture F1.2 for Sony E-Mount cameras. This is the second lens of the Pro line. The first one was the 75mm. I'm using the lens right now on my Sony FX3 because I want to show you the autofocus capabilities, because we have autofocus, but we're going to talk about it. And I also want to show you the depth of field you can get with this lens at f1.2. We're going to take some videos, some B-roll for you, but also some photography with the Sony a7R III, and we're going to talk about all the details. Starting from the mount, which we have mentioned already, this is a lens for E-Mount by Sony. Sensor format APS-C, which is a cropped sensor lens. You can use the lens also on a full frame camera like the Sony FX3 or the a7R III, but you will get a focal length which is equivalent of 40mm instead of 27. So right now you're actually seeing me at 40mm and not at 27. What happens if we use it on a full frame camera without cropping the sensor? I'll show you in a second. So here I am at 27mm on a full frame camera without cropping the sensor. You see a lot of vignetting because part of the body of the lens is actually into frame. So you will see it around the edges like a black vignette. Can we vlog with this lens? I guess you can, but as you have seen before, you get a pretty tight close-up. So it's probably not my recommended lens for vlogging. Or if you don't mind the vignetting, then you can use it at 27mm as I'm doing right now. So here we are back at 41mm more or less with crop sensor on the Sony FX3. Bear in mind, if you use the crop sensor, you won't be able to film in 4K, but you will have to switch to HD. So I'm now filming at full HD. Aperture. So we have an iris that goes from f1.2 to f16. We can change the aperture through the camera, but also we have manual aperture. We have a ring on the actual lens. Aperture blades, we have 11 blades, which we might know right now it makes the aperture rounder for also a better bokeh. Useless to say that having a large aperture like f1.2 allows you to use your camera and the lens in very dark conditions, but also you will achieve very shallow depth of field, as you can see right now. Talking about the focus, we have autofocus, but also, of course, manual focus. We have a button on the lens, on the body of the lens, to switch between the manual and auto. The motor is very quiet, so you won't hear anything, and the ring is actually very smooth, so no noises. It works really well. With compatible cameras, it supports eye focus, and so far it works really well. I can monitor myself right here in the screen of the camera, and it really tracks my eye perfectly. Also, the autofocus works really quickly between the subjects, as you can see from the images. I didn't notice much focus breathing, and overall it performs really well anyway. The minimum focus distance on paper is 27 centimeters from the subject. According to my tests, the minimum focal distance from a subject is around 20 centimeters, which is great to be at f1.2 actually on a 40 millimeters focal length. And of course I'm referring to 40 because I'm using a crop sensor on my lens at the moment. Okay, let's talk about the body of the lens itself, just to go through all the different options we have. And first of all, I have to say the build is really good quality. It's probably the best quality body I have tested by the brand Viltrox. It feels professional, it feels like a Sony lens. I think because some of the parts are made of metal and not plastic as other versions, so it feels really nice, solid, it's heavy enough, it's a pro lens. As mentioned before, we have a few rings. We have an aperture ring and a focus ring. Also, we have a customizable button on the side of the lens, which at the moment I have set with my picking. So whenever I press it, I switch between picking off and on, but you can customize it as you wish through the camera. We have a switch to go from auto to manual focus. In terms of diameter, lens diameter for your step-up rings or filters, this is a 67 millimeters. Vlogging again at 27 millimeters. The body is weather sealed, so we should be fine even with a bit of rain. We also have a focus lock button on the body of the lens. You will also find a USB-C port on the lens to upgrade your firmware. Chromatic aberration, nothing. I think it worked and performed really well, which is great, so no need to do any work in post-production. In terms of sharpness, the images result very sharp in the center, I mean properly sharp in the center, but they will fade a little bit towards the edges. In terms of dimensions and weight, the lens measures 82 millimeters by 92 and the weight is 565 grams. Price at the moment is $545 on the Viltrox website. All the links in the description tab. So what do we think about this lens? I think it's a great lens if you use it on a native APS-C camera. It has very large aperture, as we have seen, so you can create really nice and smooth bokeh. It's probably made more for photography. I think it was conceived more for photography, but I find it very useful. I would find it very useful also for videos and gimbal work. The problem is that you can only shoot in full HD, and that's why I find it actually useless to my purpose, because I'm using an FX3 which films in 4K, but with this lens I wouldn't be able to film in 4K, so that's a disadvantage for me. And also having a full frame, I will have to use it with a crop sensor, which doesn't make any sense again, because it turns the lens from a 27 to a 40 millimeters, and I could invest the same money in a full frame 50 millimeters lens for my Sony FX3. Let me know in the comment tab what you think. If you want to know more about the lens, about other products I have reviewed on my channel, a lot of stuff, so I definitely welcome you to subscribe and be part of my community. I hope the video helped out. I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Ciao guys, take care.